Hello, and welcome to Beautiful Breakdowns, where we break down and then break it down. Today, we're going to be breaking down a song of mine called Transform. And without further ado, let's get to it. These days, stuck in a cocoon, babe, throwing lots of punches, trying to let the light in. Oh, I've been dreaming of the moment when I get outside. Wonder what's waiting on the outside. Wonder who's turning on and off the light. Wonder if I fit in. Wonder what will happen. I'll transform. Make me something beautiful. I'll transform. Make me something beautiful. I'll transform. These days I'm a fucking island and I'm slowly sinking. Water slowly rising over me. I've been waiting for a boat to come upon my shores. Give me company. Maybe they will put some roots down. Maybe they will go about setting up a town. Maybe I won't be so lonely. Perhaps the sea will ease it off me. I'll transform. Make me something beautiful. I'll transform. Make me something beautiful. I'll transform. I'll transform. Make me something beautiful. I'll transform. Make me something beautiful. I'll transform. I'll transform. I'll transform. Transform is my pandemic song. What a time. What a time it was. It was really hard on a lot of people, especially for mental health, and really challenging on relationships. And my ex and I didn't make it easy on ourselves. I decided to move in with him and his sister, and it was actually planned before the pandemic happened, and then it just got fast-tracked by a few weeks. But it was a challenging living dynamic for a relationship, and particularly hard when myself and my ex weren't working for 3 months. And I'm not very good at not having any purpose in life. So I tried as well as I could to find ways to fill my days. But I'm really not somebody who can sit around twiddling their thumbs very easily. And my ex is the same, too. He really likes to keep super, super busy and do a lot of things. So I think for both of us, we struggled quite hard with not having things to properly fill our days. And there's only so many hobbies that you can throw into your life. Yeah. But I think the big issue was that we weren't able to be support systems for each other through it as much as we could have. I tried really hard to, but I was the most lonely I've ever been amongst other people in my life, living in that dynamic. As soon as I moved in, intimacy just completely evaporated, and I spent a lot of time alone. And, the two of them had their places to go to. My ex's sister had her bedroom, and my ex really had two spaces. He had the office space and he had the shed, and between those spaces, they were often off in those rooms, and I would hang out in the living room and in the kitchen, in the common areas, and I watched a lot of television. More television than I have ever watched in my entire life. And I was trying to create company for myself. I felt really, really alone. Even when my ex was in the space, he was so often just checked out, and on his phone, and in a YouTube hole. And the times where the space was full, it was full with other people. And that was one of the big differences too. My friends and family were took the rules of COVID very seriously, and everybody was so different going through it. But my ex's family was looser. Friends and family were looser about the regulations and congregating. So I got to see a lot of his world, but didn't get to see a whole lot of mine. And we almost never had any alone time together. My ex and I, we were either in separate spaces in the household, or there was company over, and it was all of us being together. And it was really hard at a certain point, because we were also living in the family home. I started feeling more like a sibling than a romantic partner, which was really, really tough. And I gained weight, and I started feeling really down on myself. It just became a really bad scene, and I tried so hard to keep it positive, but really inside I was struggling a lot. And this song was born out of that. I was having a really hard time, feeling very isolated from my own communities and very alienated, and starved of affection. And I just started dreaming about transforming and what life was going to be like when I was able to get back out into the world again, and what that was, what I could be, and how life could be. And as soon as I was able to get back to work, I started up my own business, and I just threw myself into it entirely. And I worked a lot of late nights, and I honestly, a lot of the time, was driving home and not wanting to go home. I was sitting in the car, kind of counting down the minutes that I had to enter the door and have no one acknowledge my presence when I arrived. Other than, of course, my wonderful, wonderful little dog. But yeah, it was a really, really challenging time. And this song, I really wanted it to kind of help push me in the direction of feeling that it could be better than this. And that there was going to be a time after that. And I know I certainly was not the only one that went through it. There are a lot of similar experiences and a lot of way, way, way worse experiences that people went through in this very challenging time. And we all went through it together. And we're here now. We're not fully through it yet. We're feeling it. We're still very much feeling it. But we can see each other, and we can touch each other, and we can be in spaces together and dancing and singing. And I'm just trying to hold on to all of those little pieces as much as I can. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 6 of Beautiful Breakdowns, and tune in next week for episode 7.